Right. So, good morning, everyone, and aloha from Hawaii. Thank you very much for your kind invitation to join your spring Ohigan service for the Twin Cities Buddhist Sangha. I'm so grateful for this wonderful opportunity. Um, and thank you for your kind introduction. And yes, since 2003, I am serving as the Bishop of the Honpa Honganji Mission of Hawaii. And originally, I'm from Hiroshima, Japan, from a small island called Etajima. Uh, some of you may know Miyajima, which is kind of famous place for sightseeing. My island is kind of next to Miyajima, and then we do have the Hiroshima, as some of you may know, is the Jodo Shinshu, the Shin Buddhism is very strong in that region. And I'm from the temple family, and I was raised. My father is also the resident minister of my home temple, and I was raised in within the Buddhist environment, and I'm so well fortunate that now I am serving the sangha of the another island in Hawaii. But anyway, thank you for your kind invitation. Uh, well, here in the Honpa Honganji Mission of Hawaii, we have a committee, so-called Social Concerns Committee. And this committee researches and studies various issues, social issues happening around the world. And we make recommendations to the entire organization to take action, any action, social action as Jodo Shinshu Buddhist organization. We also collect and distribute funds for various organizations and programs that promote peace, alleviate suffering, and advocate for the welfare of the disadvantaged, disabled, or discriminated. We also provide disaster relief fund to assist individuals and groups who were affected by major disasters. And at our recent committee meetings, we expressed concern about recent events in Minnesota and discussed what actions could take regarding this issue. As Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, how can we act and live during this time of turmoil? Through our committee's discussions, we concluded that we should, well, I guess we better avoid call for any political actions, but it is important to offer spiritual guidance and hope through the Jodo Shinshu perspective. This is how my message about compassion was written and distributed. And actually, when I wrote the message, of course, I thought about the people in Minnesota, but I never expected that the message would reach you. And I was surprised when Reverend Onikura sent me an email saying that some of you have read it, and I really appreciate it. It would bring me great joy if someone finds peace and comfort through the message that we share through the Jodo Shinshu perspective. I'm so grateful for this wonderful opportunity to join your Sunday service this morning. So, on behalf of the ministers and members of the Honganji in Hawaii, please know that you are not alone during this difficult time. As fellow travelers of the Nembutsu, we are always with you. In the world we live today, there seems to be no end to the challenges we face. Wars, terrorism, global warming, environmental destruction, and all kinds of conflicts happening both nationally and internationally. We can no longer say that these issues have nothing to do with our lives. Each of our lives is deeply connected with the lives of others. So, how we act, how we think, and what we say or what we don't say affects others. So, our happiness and unhappiness are not separate from the one of others. So, the Buddha taught us that life involves sufferings, but he also taught us that suffering can become the gateway to compassion. All of us encounter, pain, loss, and difficulties in our lives. Buddhism does not teach us how we can avoid these sufferings. Rather, it teaches us how to look deeply into the reality of both individual suffering and collective suffering, and how to cultivate wisdom and compassion so that we can live this unrepeatable life, meaning free and gratefully, together. So today we observe Higan service. Higan means the other shore. It is an abbreviation of To Higan, meaning to reach the other shore, the shore of enlightenment or nirvana. Observed during the spring and autumn equinox, when day and night are of equal length. Higan is for Shin Buddhists an important occasion to contemplate the reality of human existence and the vow of Amida Buddha, which works tirelessly for our spiritual liberation. In Shin Buddhism, we are assured of birth in the Pure Land and the attainment of Buddhahood through the working of Amida Buddha. Higan is not simply a seasonal observance. It is a precious opportunity to praise Amida Buddha and listen deeply to the guidance that enables us to live with meaning and gratitude. Whenever I observe the Higan season, I think of the kanji, the Chinese character of the West, Nishi. In the sutras, the West is the symbolic direction of the Pure Land. Just as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, our lives too return to the Pure Land. Watching the sun sink in the west, people contemplate the Pure Land beyond. I have also heard an interpretation of this character, West Nishi. The kanji of the West, Nishi, can be divided into two parts, as you see on the screen. The first part represents birds, and the second one represents its nest. So during the day, birds fly about, searching for food, escaping from danger, but when evening comes, they return to their nest, where they can rest in safety. Birds can fly around. They can freely fly because they have a place to return to. In the same way, the Pure Land is the place to which we return at the end of life. Yet it is not only about the end of life. The Pure Land also gives us comfort, purpose, and assurance here and now. It is our spiritual home, and Amida Buddha is our spiritual parent, always welcoming us with open arms. So, like birds, we fly around, but in the end, we can fly around because we have a place where we can return to. Um, so speaking of a place of refuge, the from uh, one event that I will never forget is the Maui wildfire that happened in 2023. The wildfire that broke out on August 8, 2023, devastated the town of Lahaina. Lahaina, once the capital of the Hawaiian kingdom and a beloved town visited by many people around the world, was reduced to ashes, including the Lahaina Honganji mission. The Lahaina Honganji mission, uh, they had Hondo, the minister's residence, temple office, social hall, and the Japanese school building. They are all destroyed by the fire. Only the Nokotsudo, the columbarium, remained. About half of the temple members lost their homes. Many were displaced and unable to return for a long time. 2 weeks after the disaster, I visited Maui. At that time, we were not allowed to enter the devastated area, so we stood on a hill overlooking the town. The picture on the right is the hill where we stood on that day. Kind of hard to see, but the shoreline, all the buildings were gone. Yeah. So, and as we looked down upon Lahaina, I was speechless. The scene before us was so utterly different from what it had once been. I thought of those who had lost their lives, those who had lost their homes, those who had lost what they cherished most, and those who had barely escaped the flames. We placed our hands together in Gasho toward the Lahaina Honganji's building, which was on the kind of left side of that picture, and recited the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And then I looked beside me and saw the minister of Lahaina Honganji quietly crying. He held onto the fence tightly and wept as he looked down over the town. I could do nothing but place my hand gently on his shoulder. Since that day, I have reflected deeply on the meaning of his tears. They must have been tears of sorrow at the loss of everything he cherished, tears of regret for not being able to protect the things he cherished. Those tears I could never fully comprehend. At that moment, uh, at that time we were talking to each other. Right now, all we can do is to place our hands together from here. But as soon as possible, let's return to our temple and place our hands together there once again. And after many weeks later, we were able to return to the temple, the one you see on the left. So, as I have tried to respond to the Maui wildfire in my role as bishop of the Honganji in Hawaii, I have come to realize how difficult it is to truly empathize with those who suffer directly from such disaster. I have felt helpless. I have also become painfully aware of the limits of my own compassion. At such times, I recall the words of Shinran Shonin in the Tanisho, and he wrote, I quote, "It is extremely difficult to accomplish the saving of others just as one wishes. However much love and pity we may feel in our present lives, it is hard to save others as we wish. Hence, such compassion remains unfulfilled." How true these words are. We cannot save others as we would like to, however deeply we care, however deeply we love. Our compassion is often limited and incomplete. It is indeed difficult to stand fully in solidarity with the pain and sorrow of others. But Shinran Shonin continued, only the saying of the Nembutsu, then, is the mind of great compassion that is thoroughgoing. So Shinran Shonin taught us that the Nembutsu, the Namo Amida Butsu, is the manifestation of the Buddha's great compassion. The Buddha's compassion embraces all beings, feels deeply the suffering of all of us, and resolves to save us without fail. Because we are limited, because our compassion is hindered by limitation, ego-centeredness, self-centeredness, Amida Buddha fulfills what we cannot fulfill. And such boundless wisdom and compassion of Amida take form for us as Namo Amida Butsu. So the voice of the Nembutsu we recite is none other than the compassionate call of Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu is always with us, right here, right now. Right? So this is to me the meaning of Higan. Higan is not the other shore, simply it's not the other shore as some distant place, distant realm that is unrelated to our present lives. Higan, the Purand of Amida Buddha, has been established precisely for us who cry over the painful realities of this shore. Namo Amida Butsu is the Buddha's promise to embrace every being without fail. From the other shore, Amida Buddha is calling us. Let me take care of you. I will never abandon you. You and I are both illuminated and guided by such compassionate working. It is this compassion that sustains my imperfect self. It is this compassion that gives me the courage to keep moving forward. So speaking of the Lahaina's altar, the temple, even though the statue of Amida Buddha of the temple had disappeared, the compassionate working of Amida has never disappeared. It continues to live and work in us as the voice of the Nembutsu. So in the Namo Amida Butsu that we recite, we heard the compassionate voice of Amida Buddha, embracing all of us, all of our suffering, sorrow, helplessness, frustration, and anger, and still calling to us. It must be painful. It must be difficult, but I will never abandon you. I will never let you go. So to me, this is the meaning of what Shinran Shonin said. Only the saying of the Nembutsu then is the mind of great compassion that is thoroughgoing. Higan is our spiritual home, where Amida Buddha welcomes us with open arms, just like the kanji of the West. Our existence is already recognized, already affirmed, and already appreciated. Like birds, they can, just as birds can fly freely because they have a nest to return to. We too can live this life in joy and gratitude because we have a spiritual home. And Amida Buddha affirms us just as we are and offers us a comfort place, that place of refuge. I'd like to share what Lady Takeko Kujo wrote in her as well. We sing this as a gasa, Seiya, the splendor of an evening sky. She wrote, "Splendor of an evening sky. Who can ever fathom it is timeless mystery? Million eyes, when sparkling bright in the sable sky, touch my heart, my lonely heart, with serenity. More than all the countless sands, Ganges river holds are the infinite Buddhas who fills this universe, ever watchful over us throughout day and night. Hearing this, my lonely heart fills with lasting peace. So Lady Takeko Kujo expressed how her lonely heart is illuminated by this light of the Buddha that fills the universe like stars. And that light touches her heart and fills it with lasting peace. Shinran Shonin also wrote as follows: It is a great torch in the long night of ignorance. Do not sorrow that your eyes of wisdom are dark. It is a ship on the vast ocean of birth and death. Do not grieve that your obstructions of karmic evil are heavy. This is from the one of his wasan. So a life without a torch is filled with fear, loneliness, anxiety, and darkness. But a life illuminated by that torch is filled with gratitude, joy, and light, no matter what comes into our lives. Our life is a journey with Amida Buddha. We are never alone in the Nembutsu. Higan is the time to reaffirm that we are always embraced by Amida's light. Especially in these uncertain and turbulent times, may we continue to immerse ourselves in this great compassion of Amida Buddha that flows within and through us. And as recipients of such great compassion, may we manifest it quietly, steadily, and sincerely through our words, actions, and relationships with others. Oops. Our lives are all interrelated and interdependent, and I sincerely hope that our actions, no matter how small or large, will bring peace and comfort for the lives of others. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you